Hello there again. For the next standard that I've chosen to do, when I was speaking to Manuel Aragon, my site supervisor, something resonated in mind over the last year, just like every other school across Texas, and for that matter, across the nation. I think everyone's faced with a hard time, being that we're in the middle of a pandemic that has really changed the outlook on education right now. I think for a lot of individuals, I think teachers in general right now are faced with a daunting task. And it's not easy, and it's just not the teachers. No one knows what's going on at our students' home lives. For those that are doing distance learning, for those that are on campus, we're faced with daunting tasks where even when they're in class, are they really focusing? Where are they progressing? What's being learned? For that reason, when me and Mr. Aragon sat down and talked, I really felt one of the standards I wanted to target, and he thought it was best too, was going to be standard 3. And in standard 3, there was one in particular that we thought I could really hone in on. For a majority of reasons, I think I can target it. And so the one that really stuck out the most would be 3A, the resilience and change management. The principle remains solutions oriented, treats challenges as opportunity, and supports staff through changes. Just like I said, I think right now everyone in our nation, as far as the education system goes, we're faced with the daunting task. I think right now, in particular for our campus and what we see, right now we have a 51-page failure rate, which is something that we've never had before. And I think there's multiple reasons in that. I think one is that while a lot of these failure reports are consistent with several things, one, yes, it's the failure rates, and two is the attendance. We are struggling right now to keep engagement there. For that matter, we see a consistency across the board, not just as our campus, but as a district whole too. And so my idea is that in getting the ability to take ownership and take lead and think of this as if I was the principal, what can I do to help execute the standard in front of me? And so I sat back and I started brainstorming with Mr. Aragon, and I said, what do we do? There's 51 failure rates. Where do we start? Yes, you can say, well, you know what? At this point, this has been ongoing. That means that they're going to be held back. Obviously, we know that can't be the option, because then you'd be talking about a trickle effect that would hinder everyone. I mean, you would go through every grade level almost starting back over. So that's not an option for us to retain. Now, I think one thing we can do is come up with a program. And so that program idea was with me and Mr. Aragon, and then bringing in our juvenile case manager, Mr. Salinas. Mr. Salinas is our juvenile case manager, and his focus primarily is with attendance. Me and him have sought out. We tackled the 51-page list of students in its entirety. Obviously, we're nowhere near done. Obviously, what we've done, we've made phone calls on top of our teachers to check in on our students first and foremost, to see how they're doing, how their families are doing. And then for those that we couldn't get a hold of and we knew that were failing in multiple core subjects, even some being the electives, we targeted them to go do home visits. to show that we weren't just educators and our job was it. No, we wanted to go above and beyond. So what we came up with when we were pulled into a leadership team meeting, myself being the restorative practice discipline interventionist on the campus, and Mr. Salinas being the attendance, we wanted to come together and create an opportunity for success. And when we talked with Mr. De Leon, our campus principal, what we came up with is, okay, at this point in the pandemic, we've now entered a year mark. How do we go forward? You know, the governor has made some adjustments, said no mask. Obviously, as a school district, we are continuing with the mask mandate. Then, our board of trustees said that we could slowly bring back students. And so, on a daily basis, we have the phones ring consistently with parents that are concerned. Because at this point now, part of what Mr. Salinas does is, and that's his job, is that after 3 absences, there's going to be a warning letter that's sent home. And so parents are getting these warning letters, and now they're calling and concerned, well, wait a minute, I'm at work, and my son or my daughter is at home, and they're telling me they're doing the work. And what we've seen is that, you know, kids are smart. They know what they're doing when it comes to technology. And not everyone's that way, but for a majority of our students, I can speak to, they know how to operate the computer, and they know what to do. Our campus in general serves a huge population of ESL students. We serve a population of special education students, being that we come from a Title I school. You know, our demographics are very offset. You'll see very impoverished, some in between, and then those that are doing well. But for the most part, being that we're Title I, we do see a lot that are in that classification of need. And so, when speaking to a lot of these parents, you know, their concern was, well, how can you guarantee that they would be safe if they return to campus? And that's a tough, that's a tough pitch. And you can't guarantee something. But what I did tell them was, I can tell you that as a district, we have a superintendent, Dr. Lloyd Verstuff, who, along with our board of trustees, go above and beyond to help us. They have gone as a district. Every student so far has a shield. Every student has endless masks that they can change out every day when they come in. We have water bottles that are being brought in so that they don't have to utilize the actual water fountains, along with other things like endless cleaning supplies for teachers. Students come in, they sanitize their own areas. Our custodial staff has machines that disinfect and do above and beyond the detox as far as killing all the germs and making sure sanitation is at the highest level possible. Even furthermore, every Monday we have now that students can come in and test, which is a great opportunity. It's just up to the parent to say, yes, I would like my student to be tested for COVID-19. In fact, I help run that part of that safety measure on our school, and I was able to help with all the COVID protocols. So I can speak to them and tell them that while I can't guarantee that their child may or may not get it, because that's obviously a test that I'm not willing to say that can't happen. I mean, anyone could get it, but I can tell you that we're doing the best to our advantage. So when you go back to the drawing board with 51 failures, your attendance, you're seeing a lot of students who, you know, teachers are saying, look, come into the classroom, and which we did. We went into quite a few classrooms, walking through and just seeing what it looks like. And school right now, I'd have to say, for me, in my personal and professional opinion, isn't school. I don't see the excitement on kids' faces right now. You don't hear the hallways like you normally would in a regular year. The laughter, the joking, the excitement just to see your peers. When you pass by the classrooms, you hear kids talking, you hear them answering questions, you hear them shouting out, listening to the teacher, having full of excitement, wanting to learn and engage. And right now, I can't say that it's across our campus. We have a lot that are doing that. But we also have those that, are struggling with how do we keep safe. At the same time, how am I able to teach both in person and then be at the computer? And so where me and Mr. Salinas came in was we came up with an idea, because most of the failure rates that are on that page are also attendance issues. And so what we did was we created a tiered form, in which case I will show you. And that tiered form that I'll walk you through actually shows you the level of severity. And so we started targeting students that we knew that were either one, who were at home, they were a student of special education, a student of RTI, or even an ESL student. If that student was having attendance rate issues, we automatically put them on. But obviously, when you have 51 pages, what qualifies you or what gets you on that list? Obviously, we still can't bring back everyone as much as we'd love to. We're in a slow opening process as given by direction by our board of trustees along with our superintendent. And so we have to be mindful of that. And Mr. DeLeon, our campus principal, has been able to guide us and give us suggestions. And so we ran with this idea to create a program to where we can help these students be engaged, get back a little bit of excitement, since right now, even sports looks different, electives look different. So how do we get them? So when we started making all these phone calls and we started getting a hold of parents, we said, tell me, how are you doing first off? What can we do to help you? And so a lot of them said, it's difficult. I'm a single parent. I have to provide for my children. So I go to work and they stay here and I don't know, yes, I'm calling, I'm checking on them, but I don't really know what quite is going on. And so that's why we created that list. So what we did was we would, on that list, several categories that we put on there on a Google form, and that's how we generate that spreadsheet, is one, we ask, in regards to when we pull their student ID number, we're able to see what kind of programs they're in. So if they're in any of those special pop things, as far as RTI, special education, ESL, etc., those automatically become a level 3. Especially if we see that they're struggling attendance-wise. So the ones that are on level 3, me and Mr. Salinas then gather that information. We go to Mr. DeLeon, our campus principal, and we then go ahead and document those students. In our meeting, we talk about this is where their grades currently are. This is the area of struggle. Additionally, we talk about what can we do as far as helping them. And so those students then become listed as level 3, severe. And immediately